The 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.
The Word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
The 23rd Psalm is one of the most well-known of all psalms. It is a psalm of comfort in a time of trial, but it's also one of those psalms that forms us spiritually. For the Lord is our shepherd. It tells us of relationship, and it is God who guides us and directs us if we are willing to listen and follow. Now you may be expecting today that we're going to look at the 4th verse. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And while that is true, I would like us to focus on the verses immediately before and after that one. Verses 2 and 3 of this psalm state that He leadeth me beside the still waters, and He restoreth my soul. And here we find ourselves beside the still waters. And during this time of social distancing, where we are slowing down and staying at home, God is leading us beside those still waters. We are experiencing a quieter time where our pace slows down and we're not as hurried and rushed as we once were. And in these moments, I wonder, how is God shaping you? How is God forming you? How is God at work in your life so that your soul is being restored? How, in these quiet moments, are you connecting to God? I invite you to remember the call of Elijah in 1 Kings, where God came to Elijah not in a loud voice or in the hustle and bustle, but in the stillness and the silence.
From 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 11 to 13, he said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Now there was a great wind, so strong that it was splitting mountains and breaking rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a sound of sheer silence. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. Then there came a voice to him that said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?"
It is in that stillness that God often speaks to us. Now back to the 23rd Psalm. Verse 6 speaks of God preparing a table for us. It is a place of belonging, a place where we gather and are fed. And we are told at this table that our cup runneth over. It is a table of plenty that we are invited to, where there is enough to go around. And during this time, we might find ourselves forgetting that fact. The fact that we are blessed. We are blessed by God with an overflowing of blessings. I invite you to take a moment and write down all that you are thankful for. Go ahead. Pause the video if you need to and go and grab a writing utensil and a piece of paper. And I want you to write down, what is it you are thankful for today? Go ahead. We'll wait. As you look at your paper and reflect upon these blessings, these gifts, remember that our faith tells us that all that we have is from God. And as you look at your paper full of gifts and blessings, what is your response? What is our response to all that God has given us? This might be a good time to talk about stewardship and our commitment to the church. And I invite you to please remember your offering. Forgiving is one way in which God forms us. In giving, we are shaped and formed by God.
In a world that seems eager to push us all apart, the United Methodist Church serves as a beacon of hope and community. Together we are committed to living out God's love in a needy world. As part of the United Methodist Church, you and your local church are part of a worldwide partnership that enables us all to do more together. Together, we leverage our resources to respond quickly to disasters and to stop disease-related deaths of children. Together we increase our capacity to love as we stand against injustice and speak for those who need a voice. Together we widen opportunities to serve more as we plant new churches around the world and educate the next generation of principled leaders. Together we reach around the world to touch more lives by deploying missionaries from everywhere to everywhere. And together we invest in your congregation to ensure your local leadership and community outreach continues to thrive. From teeming cities across oceans to small villages at the end of the road, the United Methodist Church unites us as we live, work, and witness the love of God. No matter how the world may try to make us feel isolated, you are not alone, because by the grace of God, together, we do more.
While the buildings are temporarily closed, the church itself is alive and well and active in ministry. For I remind you that you are the church, and you are active, growing in your faith, growing in your discipleship, through your prayers, your presence, your gifts, your service, and your witness. Together we are the church, and I thank you for your generosity.